The Big Al Podcast with your host, Al Bishop, unfiltered and uncut.
Alrighty, welcome ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. I'm joined today by the MMA star-crossed lover, Mr. Keegan Govender. Thank you for what's happening, man? Thanks for joining us.
Man. How's it going, brother?
Yeah, everything's rocking, man. All good. What we basically want to do today is kind of just have a look at the card that's coming up, smash it out, break it down, see what's happening, what you can expect. We'll give you all our thoughts on it. Keegs, let's start with you, man. Let's basically just give you a rundown of your love affair with the EFC and how it all started and where you are.
Just before we get through that, right? Just one question. McGregor, Mayweather. And 2 weeks prior to this, now this is between me and you and on social media. So we were going hard. We were like McGregor dick riders. So comments will be uploaded, and every comment we'll just reply. Hell no, McGregor wanna fuck him up. One punch, one shot. And you think it's our emotions that came into play? Like, we were just emotions. You know, like when you're in high school and this guy's telling you, yo, this chick, you shouldn't really trust her. But you so full of love and the emotions. Like, McGregor was that high school chick that we just loved him. There's no way.
Yeah, look, I think that's part and parcel of the hype with McGregor, is that he finds a way to make you believe in him, you know. So I think a lot of people got caught out in that hype train, you know. I think like a lot of people that were making picks, myself included, were picking emotionally, you know, like
even me as well.
Yeah, so you know, it was a great fight for two reasons: that we got to see what McGregor's capable of, you know, like in terms of self-belief and really pushing the boundaries and really going for something. And we also got to be reminded one last time of just how great Floyd Mayweather is, you know. I think a lot of people, especially the casual fans, kind of got sucked into this whole thing that, you know, that he's just going to get murked, which was quite crazy. Look, there was always going to be doubt, and I think there was always going to be the risk. But even in my mind, I had kind of made a decision that stylistically that left uppercut was going to do the job. You know, maybe rock Mayweather and then
McGregor tagged him with that in the first
and straight after I saw him tag him with that and nothing happened, I was like, okay, well,
I was crossing my fingers and praying. I was like, oh, there's another one coming.
So it was, you know, like
Mayweather's amazing.
That left uppercut kind of meant nothing to Mayweather, so you knew straight away after that punch that it was going to be a long fight for McGregor, because I think that was his best weapon, and it just turned out to be worth nothing.
And the next
but Joe, I think it was a great spectacle, man. It brought a lot of highlight to combat sports in general. I'm sure the boxing gyms are probably reaping rewards because people want to find out this magic art that beat the famous McGregor and what it's all about.
100%, yeah.
Cool, bro. We also just had, well, not just had, but a few weeks back,
EFC63.
Yeah, what a card, man! It was pretty insane. Obviously highlighted by the historical two weight division champion now, Dricus du Plessis.
Yeah.
What did you make of that main fight, man? It was obviously the build-up was so intense. We got to see a lot of it live. We got to see the famous slap and all of this stuff really kick off, and then it ended in a minute and a half, which is the risk of MMA, I guess.
100%. Man, it was amazing because if you look at Bahati leading up, he was so confident, and he, in his mind, he even came up here and he's like, you know what, there's UFC next, there's Bama next, I'm going to defend this title here, I'm going to Bama in 4 weeks, I'm going to defend there, and there's UFC next. So he, in his mind, I don't even think he gave Dricus that respect, which is the number one mistake you make. You don't give Dricus the respect, he's gonna take you out. And that's what we've seen from Dricus this last few fights. Guys come in, he takes short notice fights, he takes them out. Change of opponents, he takes them out. So Dricus is a real threat. And I just thought the size would be a factor there. I thought, man, Dricus maybe a bit too small coming up against Yannick, because when you look at Yannick, you're like, damn, this guy's a beast. And then you just see that Dricus, he's a different type of beast.
Yeah, it's a funny thing that that seemed to be the underlying theme for that fight, was that Dricus was going to be overpowered, out-muscled, outsized, which is a strange thing, you know. Obviously, Yannick walks around a lot heavier, but has to cut quite a bit of weight, and I think people underestimate how.
He never misses weight, though.
Yeah, sure. People underestimate just how big and how strong Dricus actually is, you know. And to carry that weight, in essence, carry that power up to middleweight is quite surreal, because I feel like he had figured out, well, between him and CRT, they had kind of figured out a blueprint for Bahati, if you like. They kind of had it in their minds to put him under pressure very quickly. Try and, you know, squeeze him into a corner and see what he does. And I think that's exactly what happened. You know, they squeezed him into a corner. He forced a sloppy shot. He tried to pull out of the double.
And shoot,
Yeah, and he
but
paid
his
the
last
price.
3 fights was against CIT guys.
Yeah.
So they definitely got their blueprint down.
No, 100%.
And they're like, you know, this guy, he doesn't let you get it. Let's just hit him and let's just see what happens. So
Yeah, and the opening exchanges were pretty decent, man. They were, you know,
it was competitive.
Yeah,
It was competitive.
It was, and both guys landed pretty decently. But I think Yannick took a hard shot, I think, to his left eye.
Yeah.
At
He was
first,
cut.
Yeah, he was struggling with that eye, and I think that eye kind of sent him into a panic. I think he felt a bit of power.
He felt the blood.
Yeah, and he was like, "Geez," it kind of looked like he wanted to get out of that exchange. He had kind
and
of
take it to the ground.
Yeah,
where you feel
exactly.
comfortable.
And sloppy. Yeah, so but. You know, it was a great fight. I would have liked to have seen that fight go a few more rounds.
Yeah, myself.
If I'm honest, I think everybody would have liked to, but that's the fight game, man. That's
And if you just
what
notices Dricus' composure throughout the media and leading up, he was just composed, even when Bahati slapped him.
Yeah, sure.
A slap that I didn't even see coming. And I was, but Dricus was still calm, composed. He didn't want to exchange and give him with a slap back, because he like whipped him in the first exchange. And then Bahati, like, obviously let go. And, Dricus was still calm, composed. And he just knew in his mindset, I'm here for the job. I'm going to take this guy out, 2-division champ. And he was calling it.
No, 100%. And I think Dricus is very focused on the task, not the opponent, you know. I don't think he's too stressed about the opponent. He's more concerned about his own personal career. So in his mind, stack him up. Let's get it done. You know, obviously he's now called out for the light heavyweight strap.
Damn. Against champion.
Yeah.
Stuart Austin won't be too happy about that.
No, I don't know. If I'm Graham Cartmel, I'm not making that fight, if I'm honest with you. And if I'm Dricus du Plessis, I'm starting to look at slightly bigger promotions, if we can say. International exposure. He's a 2-weight division champion. He's got to start making tough decisions for his career. I don't think the light heavyweight strap is going to mean much. In essence, you know, to become a 3-weight division champion is a massive thing. I just don't think that's the matchup right now. Obviously, they've said that it's now pretty much, I think, common knowledge. He will fight the winner of the Fighter Series.
Oh yes, in December, hey?
No, they'll fight in January. Oh no, not in January. The next year, probably the first card, which will be March next year. So basically, the winner of that show will fight. The final will be fought in December. And whoever wins the final will fight Dricus in the new year.
Oh, that's going to be amazing.
It's going to be.
It's going to be a tough challenge for that guy. Like, you won the fighter.
Sure.
Here's something for you.
Sure.
500,000 and go fight Dricus.
Yeah, sure.
See how that happens.
Yeah, it's a hell of a task, and it's a bit of an interesting one, because that's kind of forcing Dricus to fight at middleweight again. So he's kind of defending that middleweight strap. What happens in the welterweight division? There's a lot of things. There's a lot of questions to be answered, but we wait and see. It's exciting. They've really opened up the divisions, which is quite
Zulu
cool.
Boy versus Sylvester.
Yeah, geez, that was insane, man. That was insane.
That was amazing.
Yeah, I think it was kind of the fight I expected. I think Sylvester put on a good show, man. I think his experience.
It's not on Zulu Boy's level, eh?
Yeah, just the experience let him down, man. I think he engaged at times where he didn't. He was struggling to keep his distance.
Look,
where
the first
he
round
really
was
needed
competitive.
it. Yeah.
Zulu Boy took him some time to get in there.
Yeah, sure.
And
Dust
like
off the
what he said in
cobwebs.
the countdown shows, it's my birthday and someone's gonna need an ambulance. And he
Yeah.
stayed true to his word.
Yeah,
Man, but
100%.
Sylvester's a warrior. You know, he was amazing throughout that fight. The first round, you got to give it to Sylvester, and then round 2, 3, 4, you see Zulu Boy's experience, his finesse, just
Sure.
take your fat.
And he figured out how to close that distance quite
Yeah.
nicely, and then I think the leg kicks in there started to pay off, and he just, true professional, just started to pick him apart and tore it down.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so from EFC62 moving on, it's quite a quick turnaround. I think it works out to like 3 weeks or something like that, and we're back to the motherland, to Cape Town.
Grand West Casino.
Yeah, it's coming up this weekend. Just want
You going down for it, hey?
I'll be there, bro.
You'll be there.
Cape Town's my shit, bro. I don't miss. Okay, I just want to scan through quickly what's happening in the undercard.
Al, you know, I was thinking about this fight, and we just spoke about it earlier, that after 62, what do you do next? That was so amazing. And when you really look at 63, you just mentioned that there's no title fights, but it's really good matchups there. There's amazing fights if you just
Yeah,
look
look,
at
it's one of those weird things. I guess it's the UFC has big rosters and stuff like that, so they kind of use fight nights and Free on Fox, whatever, those sort of shows to build up contenders for viewers.
yeah.
You know, the UFC doesn't have that luxury. You know, so these sort of cards for me have to happen. You know, you've got to have a card where there's implications in weight classes. You know, if you have a look at the main card,
Yeah.
there's big implications there. You know, on winning and losing for all of those guys that are involved. The main fight's a bit of a weird one because it's at a catch weight, so I don't really know which way that goes. And when I asked Temba what that means for him in the lightweight division, and his answer was that he's doesn't want anything to do with the lightweight division. And then there's Dave's side, but we'll get into my thoughts on that a little bit later. But it's always going to be a tough card to follow, obviously, because the build-up was this massive historic card for EFC 62, and then you've got to follow that. And I think they've done well.
Yeah, I also do.
You know, it's a great looking card. It's a very exciting card. We get to see guys like Keegan Govender returning. We get to see we get to see Sean DeLange, you know, almost in a different sort of fight for him, you know.
Yeah.
And we get to see a lot of these guys prove what they want and prove what they're worth, which is going to be exciting. A nice undercard on that as well. There's
Faiz Jacobs, he's back in his hometown.
Yeah, my boy Faiz.
Your Uber driver.
Yeah, man, and Faiz always likes to light it up. He's really running on a good high. He's had a late replacement. Am I right?
Something about Faiz when the lights are when he's thrust upon the lights, he shines, eh?
Sure.
Because he opened the main card in Sun City.
Yeah, last minute as well, eh?
And he was just fantastic.
Yeah, he's a super confident guy. You know, I think everyone, himself included, kind of thought that he was going to get like a massive step up in opponent.
Yeah.
But I think Graham's gone the right route, and Nerek Simoes is...
He's no joke.
Yes, man.
He's no joke.
He's a serious dude, and he's got a wicked ground game.
Comes from a wicked camp as well.
Yeah, sure. So, and I think Faiz... Everyone kind of sees this crazy strike, and I have no doubt Nerek Simoes is going to take him to the ground and see what he does. But I think Faiz has shown that he's got a very educated ground game. You know, he's no slouch.
Yeah.
Look, I think this is definitely going to be his toughest challenge to date.
Who's opening the main card?
It's Shane Meyer and Quade Openshaw.
Oh, Quade comes back, eh?
Yeah.
He was successful. I think in his last fight, he choked out Patrick. And Quade's no joke, man. He's training with Conrad and those guys in Brothers in Arms.
Yeah.
Under the General. So Quade, that's gonna be a good cracking fight to open up the prelims. He's going up against Shane Meyer.
Yeah, it's a debutant.
Oh, he's making his debut.
Yeah.
Jeez, he's got a tough task.
Yeah, it's a very tough task. Yeah, it's a tough task, but there's quite a few tough tasks on that undercard, man. If you move up to the next fight, Tupac
Trezeguet.
Tupac's a funny one, man. Like the first time I saw him fight, I wasn't really impressed. I kind of thought he was, you know, he has a long way to go. But then his last fight,
Against Stefan De La Rey.
Stefan De La Rey. Jeepers, he just seemed like a whole new animal, man.
He was awesome.
Like
he was awesome.
Like you kind of see him, and a lot of the time I kind of get the feeling like he's not taking much serious, but you know, maybe that's just the way he is. Francois Kundari's also former
the Saint.
Yeah, the Saint. He's also he struggled on his first fight. He lost his first fight. It didn't really go his way. He's also it's got a big step up for him to the EFC. You know, he's got to make some adjustments. I think he's going to have a hard time against Trezeguet, who's obviously he's going to come out brimming
full of
with confidence. Yeah. It's a quick turnaround for him, but he didn't take much punishment, man. And he laid out Stefan De La Rey. I don't think people.
But something I think about why Trezeguet's got Caneda's got such a quick turnaround, because immediately in his post-fight Octagon interview, he speaks to Dirk, and he calls out Faiz Jacob. Or he gets on the mic and he calls out somebody. So he doesn't say, I'll fight anyone next. And that's what Graham and Cairo look at. Like, wow, this guy, he's getting on the mic. He's calling out his next fight already. He's prepared.
Sure. He's ready
so
to
he
go.
has that plan. So it wasn't no surprise to see him back again in 63.
And then let's just flick through the rest of that undercard. It's quite cool. You get to see Mamadou Toure back, Frenchie, against Regis Muyamba, which is a good fight. Like, Regis really impressed me in his last two fights. I think he won his last fight and lost the one before, but he's really like stepped up his aggression level. He's a guy who likes to come forward, and he's really going for those W's now. You know, he risks a lot, but it pays off, man. His hands have come a long way. His ground game has come a long way. Man, and I think he's a ferocious contender. You know, again, he's got a big step up here in Toure, and he's going to have a lot of work in front of him.
He's got a tough task in Toure. Toure, he was just coming off a loss against Madiba, but I don't think that's a loss in his mind. He's going to learn. He knows what he's done wrong, and he's going to...
Yeah, sure, man, and it's been a little while since we've seen Toure.
Seen him, 100%. So what type of Toure turns up on the night?
Look,
that'll be interesting to see.
The things with the FFM guys, when they go quiet and disappear, they tend to generally come back a lot stronger.
Come back with a bang.
So we'll see. And then we get to see Armand Skeepers, who's also made the move up to FFM. See what he's learned, see the tools he's adopted. He's also got a late replacement. But exciting fight, man. He's an exciting youngster. He's a good prospect, and I'm excited to see him have a go again.
And he's taking on Gunter Kalunda.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be a humdinger.
Yeah. Kalunda's also, he's a tough bastard, man. You don't put that oak away easy, which is... And Skeepers is...
What's
he's
his
got
record?
He's got a good ground game. I think he's 2-0 in the UFC, something like that.
And Kalunda's 1-0.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to get their first L.
Yeah. Skipper's got a good ground game, I guess. That's what he'll be thinking about. You know, he's got a serious jits game. All right, brother.
And Gunter Kalunda, so man, he's just tough. So he's just going to use his brute strength in this.
Yeah, tough dude.
Slug it out.
And then my personal favorite fight always the opening of the main card, and I think hats off to Graham. He's been nailing this year. He's been getting that fight right
from March till now.
Yeah. He's been.
It started off with Gordon.
Yeah, he's been smashing it out the park, man. And this one's no different. I saw when they announced the fight, someone was kind of like laughing at the fight. They were like, I think it almost looks in a way to the naked eye like a step down in opponent for Sean Delang, if I can say that. But at the same time, Conti Sibi's been on a tear, man.
The general.
He's a tough dude, bro.
The general
He's
from the Brothers in Arms.
Super tough dude. I've seen that take some serious punishment.
Man, in when was it? In Carnival City, just after EFC62, I seen him after and I asked him, Conrad, you ready for Cape Town? And he's like, I'm ready to fuck it up. I want to fuck it up.
Yeah, sure.
And I was just like, okay. So this guy, he's coming there ready to fuck it up, as he says. But Conrad, against his last fight, and Sean, none of these guys know what the ground means. In the sense that what I'm saying is they just want to stand and throw bombs.
Yeah, sure.
They just want to stand and throw bombs for the whole 5 rounds and with a smile on their face. So Sean, his last fight against Joe Still Cummings, I think Joe saw the look in this guy's eyes and he's like, you know what? This motherfucker, I'm not going to stand with him. Yeah. He wants to stand and take out my face. I'm just going to take him down, submit him. And knowing Sean, he went up to Carnival City. He's like, I'm just going to bang this guy's face till he's red in the face.
Yeah, look, Sean the Lung is always going to get the crowd going. You know, he's always going to be a fan favorite for that. And there's a lot of guys that do that. But
He
it's
comes to fight, yeah.
no 100%. But you know, this is MMA at the end of the day, and I feel like a guy like Sean the Lung has got to make a decision.
Yeah.
You know, his durability, his striking is really good. Look, I think technically he still lacks a bit of things. You know, he was away for so long, and I think he's missed out on that experience in his, let's say, his best years. You know, so he's missed out on quite a bit. But at the same time, he's really got to make a decision on how he wants to fight and how far he wants to go with this thing. You cannot, as an MMA fighter, just rely on a solid chin and decent hands. You know, like for me, to be honest, if I'm Sean the Lung, I've devised a game plan and I'm going to stick to that game plan. I don't think getting into a stand-up war with Conti CB is the greatest idea because it's going to be very difficult to put him away.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, and
the
I
guy's
think,
like a mummy.
straight man. He's such a tough dude, and it's going to be very difficult for Sean the Lung to stop that fight. You know, and this is a guy who's had the ridiculous amount of split decisions in Sean the Lung. You know, so let's try and get the fight done. Let's get the finish, wrap it up, you know.
And even Conrad as well. Like, Conrad, he's coming from CIT as well. What people forget. He used to train at CIT, so he's been sparring like Mikhail Opperman, Trickius Duplessis. So he has an idea, and he's familiar what it's like to go up against dogs. You know, they'll just slug it out.
No, sure.
And the toughness in him, it's fantastic. I love this fight against Cezwim.
Yeah, that was a cracker, man. But yeah, so it's a cracking fight. It's a great way. Look, the way I see it is it's probably gonna go 3 rounds, warfare. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that Sean the Lung is gonna win that one by decision. I think he's in his hometown.
Unanimous or split?
I think he's probably a split decision as always. That's his style, eh? So that's that, if I'm a betting man, I'm putting my money on a Delanga win there. How about you, Keeks?
I'm just gonna say Conrad CB, and not to just disagree with you, but
just
Conrad,
to even it out.
Man, that guy, and I've seen his fights. I love the way he fights. When he fights in the prelims, you see the whole Mamelodi Sundowns fan supporters shut that show down. So it's good to see him on the main card. And he comes to fight. Like in every fight, he comes to fight. He comes to slug it out. He doesn't like being taken down, and you know, he's a fighter's fighter.
And just on that, sorry man, I'm just trying to remember. I was looking at, I think Objective Regression did stats on him, and his takedown defense is really good, man.
Yeah.
The stats tell a good story. He's got a pretty solid takedown defense.
Because he knows when he's fighting guys, they don't want to stand with him because he'll stand toe-to-toe with anyone.
Sure.
So most guys, when they fight him, they realize, oh, I got to take this guy down. And then that's what he's been working on, his takedown defense.
Sure.
And keep guys up. So that's going to be a cracker fight. I'm going to go Conrad's cage-wise by unanimous decision.
All right. Right, moving on.
Let's go.
The
What's
Juggernaut versus Warren Ellison. This is a weird one for me. It's a strange fight.
Warren Ellison coming up in weight, right?
Yeah, he's coming up in weight against a monster, which is, I don't know, man. Look, Warren Ellison is not a small dude, but he's a big fella. But, you know, always the risk when you step up a weight class is that, you know, this guy, let's say, for example, Gideon's walking around at 95 kilos and Warren's walking around at 85 kilos, you know, like whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So these guys are cutting down, and on fight night, they're just going to be that much bigger than you. And especially for a guy like Warren,
see the difference,
especially for a guy like Warren Ellison, who's, in my mind, 100% going to look to win that fight on the ground.
Yeah.
If you're going to step up in weight class, and then you're going to try and beat somebody on the ground who's probably going to be a bit heavier than you.
And stronger.
Yeah, sure. Look, also, I don't think the size is going to be that much different. I mean, Gideon Drotsky, I don't think he's the biggest light heavyweight out there.
Yeah.
But he's definitely a big lad, you know, and he's got the experience of dealing with bigger dudes there, which is going to be quite interesting. I mean,
he's been up against monsters.
Yeah, sure, but obviously the inactivity is a big thing. We haven't seen Gideon Drotsky. I think it's 2 years.
2 years. He last fought Chef.
Yeah, sure.
I think, yeah.
It's been a long time, man. And then at the same time, Warren Ellison's been really active, man. I see him on the local jit scene. He's always competing and he's doing well.
EFC61, he got that key lock.
Yeah, sure.
So
sure.
got a victory there. Man, this is gonna be a tough one to call, but I don't see the juggernaut slugging his way. Yeah, the referee calls a fight in the second round.
I'm gonna go with Warren Ellison by submission.
All you Jits boys stay together.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I think the fact that he's been competing in jiu-jitsu quite religiously,
Active.
he's been pretty active. He's had a fight recently. You know, I think he might be able to lure Gideon Drotsky to a spot where he doesn't really want to be. Maybe I see something like a triangle, something cool. So if you want to place 1,000 rand on Warren Ellison by triangle in the second round,
You need half of
see
that
how
money.
it goes.
And what's next?
Yeah, it's Bruno Makulu versus Dino Bagatine.
Bum, 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 bum.
What much can we say, bro?
Let's start with the social media.
Yeah, man.
These guys don't like each other. They're just going back and forth.
I think Dino's become quite the king of that. He knows how to ruffle feathers. You know?
Yeah.
He doesn't. I don't think he likes fights that are quiet and boring. He likes a bit of bad blood and really get it going.
He wants you to be personal. He wants you to
100%. And
get in
like
your face.
for me again, Bruno Makulu is one of these guys. I think the inactivity DQ really left a bad taste in my mouth. So whenever I see Bruno Makulu, I'm like, I'm not really interested in watching this dude fight, you know.
Really?
So he's kind of carrying that shadow around him. But again, Neil Duplessis, he really performed well. But I don't know if you guys remember. I'd like to actually task Guy on this. I still say to you, at that time, Neil had done so much. He had opened up a new law firm. He was moving house. He had been through quite a bit of not been through personal stuff, but he had a lot going on, you know. And he looked tired straight away. But
So you don't think he put in the time in training camp?
I think he put in the time. I just, it's a tough thing, man.
I just think Bruno was just a better guy on the night. He was solid. He was stronger. He took Neil down. Neil didn't have an answer when he was on top of him, you know.
Sure.
So
sure.
Bruno's not he's no slouch. He's a tough guy, and guys understand that when they in there with him, you know that this guy is tough. Yeah, you can see the Fadipe fight where he evaded. That's the first time I think someone calls a fight for inactivity. But put that fight aside. This guy is really tough. He's got a good ground game. His stand-up is okay. It's going to be a good thing when he's up against Dino, who's a real stand-up martial artist, you know. And I was just if you take a look at Dino, most of the fights when he's standing and tagging guys realize, I don't want to be there.
Sure.
What am I doing standing with this guy?
Sure.
Let me just take this fight down quickly.
Yeah.
And that's why most of Dino's losses is coming by chokes, and it's all on the ground. It's very rare you see guys standing toe to toe with Dino.
Yeah, and I think we were talking about the Cam Pritchard fight where he rocked Cam in the first round and quite quickly. He caught him with an uppercut. I think it was a right uppercut. And I think Cameron knew straight away that, he doesn't
Why
want
am I standing with this
He doesn't want to be there standing. And I mean, look,
take this guy
Dino's got ridiculous hands, but he's also he's as legit a veteran in South African MMA as you will find on the roster.
100%.
To me, he's like the Chuck Liddell of EFC, man. He's the proper ice man. That dude. Look, you talk about the ground, but I think a lot of guys underestimate his ground game. I also see Dino quite a bit on the local jiu-jitsu scene.
Yeah,
staying fresh, staying ready, always improving. The guy's been around for so long, man, and he's still just learning every day. You know, he's really putting in the time, man, and I don't underestimate.
And
his
guess
jiu-jitsu.
who he's putting that time again in the mats with a whole bunch of sharks.
Yeah, sure.
He's still going rolling against Chad. After he's done, he's like, yup, here's Richie.
Yeah,
After
sure.
he's done, like, yup, here's Chef. So on the ground, you'd expect Dino's ground game now to be up there, drastically improved. So it's going to be interesting when if Bruno shoots and takes him down to the ground. I say Bruno does shoot because he doesn't want to stand with Dino. Takes him to the ground, and then from there we're going to see who's got the better ground game on the nights, which my guess is Dino.
Yeah, sure. I think I'm gonna pick Dino on that one, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think he wants it a little bit more. he's coming off, I think it's 3 back-to-back losses.
Yeah,
He's got a bit of a point to prove. The way I see it, look, all respect to Dino, is this is a kind of fight for him to stay relevant. 4 losses in a row for the amount of time he's been fighting. You kind of look, Dino.
Dino, he needs this.
Where's it going? So he needs this. Either way for his career, he needs this to kind of show something for the work that he's put in and really just announce himself to say, I'm still here. Don't count me out just yet.
100%, yeah.
So a great fight. Yeah, I think Dino finishes that fight, to be honest. I think he's gonna the level of aggression he's been bringing to his fights, man. To be honest, I also against Sean DeLange, I felt that he won that fight, man. It could have gone either way. It was
Depends
a tough
who you
one.
are, yeah, 100%. Some people had him winning, some people
It was a tough one. You could have given him that fight. It could have gone either way, So
arguably, yeah.
it's tough to say 3. Let's eradicate that fight out of the equation, because I don't think that was a fair assessment of Dino Baggetti, man. He really put on a show. I think he got sucked into Sean DeLange's game at times where he maybe could have mixed it up a little bit more.
But I don't think he'd want to take
complaining.
this fight to the judges.
No,
Seen the
Especially
judges
now
recently, they've been on top form. So Dino wants to finish this fight.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be an awesome fight, Bruno and Dino.
So you picking Dino there as well?
I'm gonna go Dino, brother. You?
100%. Yeah, Dino Baggetti there.
I'll call it round 2. You?
I'm gonna say first round finisher.
Wow.
I'm gonna go on a limb there.
Wow.
Don't take my word for it, though, but I'm gonna take.
That's
Right.
bold.
Then it's the battle of the grapplers, if we can say that. Judinho, the Rocker versus Cam Pritchard, man. This is a hell of a tough fight to call.
This is gonna be awesome.
Purely based on the fact, again, that obviously the Rocker comes in with a massive reputation. But the thing is, for me, is that we haven't seen. I mean,
Much.
Dricker's walked straight through him. Like,
Yeah.
And it's also quite tough to say.
You could say that he had a 1 week. How much notice did he have? For
Yeah,
that
it was
fight?
very short. I think maybe
Like
2 weeks. He arrived here with a
9
few
days.
days to spare, dealing with time zones,
Yeah.
altitudes.
And I was
the big
watching the
lights.
Countdown show. They recently said he had like a small rib injury, but take nothing away from Drickus. So you don't know the type of shape.
Drickus caused that injury. Don't be fooled.
Oh,
No, Drickus caused that injury. And I think he took him down. It was an elbow or something, the way he landed. His shoulder, drove his shoulder in. Yeah, that rib was from Drickus, man. That was purely just the power crumpling his rib cage.
so Drickus laid his stake on him.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Rocker comes from a serious gym. Obviously, Pitbull Brothers. He's a multiple-time Muay Thai champion.
He's a black belt.
They keep saying black belt, but I actually think he's a brown belt, man. I try to find out legitimately, but he could be a black belt, but I think he might be a brown belt. It's irrelevant, Look, when it comes to MMA grappling, you could say Cam Pritchard in his own right is a black belt, man. The dude's got some serious jits.
He's legit.
And he's got power, man. I think against Dino Baggetti, he showed that really well. Like, once he's found a gap and he takes your back, it's very difficult to get rid of him,
Yeah.
Against a guy like The Rock, maybe he's got a little bit more ground experience in Dino Baggetti, maybe it's not going to be that easy. But I feel that The Rock is going to struggle with Cam Pritchard's weight and power, because he's a big fella, man. At welterweight, he's a big guy, He's a really, really big, strong guy. Again, like, we don't know enough about The Rocker, and we haven't seen enough of him to really make an assessment.
Not many people have seen enough about the Rocker. I don't know. I haven't seen much of him, but when you say he got his black belt and it's from Brazil, then damn, legit beasts coming out of there.
Sure, but there's also
Pritchard.
there's also a big difference between jiu-jitsu black belt and MMA jiu-jitsu.
100%.
There's a big
there's
difference.
no gi there. There's no collars.
Yeah, so to say he's a black belt is all fine and well, especially from Brazil. 100%.
Yeah.
But whether he can put all of that stuff together in a cage is very different.
And this is going to be Cameron's first fight out of FFM.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting. Because when he was down at PEFSA, he was, you could say, the big fish in a pond.
Sure.
He moves up to FFM. He steps in. He's like, oh, my God, in this blue mats, there's sharks around here. I'm no more the big fish. So the guys he's grappling against now, that experience. So I'd love to see his ground game.
Yeah.
What's come out of all the time spent at FFM under those guys there?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's a big key, is to see
A new
who Cameron
reinvigorated.
Pritchard is now.
100%.
You know,
yeah.
that's going to be very interesting to see. You can make the first pick there, bro.
I'm gonna have to go with. I'll go with Cameron Pritchard. Just because he's tough and on the ground, he mixes his jiu-jitsu with MMA quite well. You know,
Yeah,
he
I
does
think
it well.
I think you're on the money there. I think Cam Pritchard, for me, I think he's just going to be too strong, too powerful at the end of the day, and I think
Yeah.
he's going to get the job done. I see a decision happening here for some reason. A lot of exchanges on the ground. I think Cam's going to have to work really hard to find a submission against a guy that's obviously got a lot of experience on the ground.
Yeah.
Maybe he comes with a surprise. Maybe Richie and Chef have devised this master plan, and he catches him with the right head kick. I don't know. So we wait and see
There's
what
always
comes out of
plans
that
coming
one.
out of that camp. That's an amazing camp.
Sweet. On to the main event. This is
This is going to be 5 rounds, am I right? 5
Yeah,
rounds. There's no 3 rounds.
it's a main event.
Mazzani versus Gorimbo.
Yeah, man.
Man.
What I was trying to say earlier on about my thoughts on this fight. They're fighting at a catch weight.
74 kilos.
Yeah, 73, 74, something like that. Anyway, I don't really know what that means for either of them.
Yeah, it's a weird one, eh?
It is a weird one. I mean, if you look at the lightweight division, Don Madge is obviously the kingpin there at the moment. You've got a lot of guys surging for the belt. There's FFM guys that are surging for the
There's
belt.
Martin right up there.
Yeah, so we wait to see what comes out of the lightweight
Yeah.
division. I have a suspicion that for both of these guys, well, let's say more for Dave Mazzani, trying to figure out that maybe Dave Mazzani's throwing in the towel on the lightweight division. And I tell you why I think that.
Yeah.
In the build-up to his fight with Dave Mazzani, I spotted something. I might have said it to you. I said it to a few people. My friend in Cape Town, Grant Campbell. I was saying to him, he asked me on the fight, and I said to him, I honestly believe Don Madge is going to win. Based on the fact that there was something different about Dave Mazzani
Throughout that week.
in the build-up to the last fight.
Okay.
It looked like the weight cut was kicking his ass.
Yeah.
You know, this is a guy who spent his whole
He
career.
was too engrossed in the media.
Yeah, sure. I think
Yeah.
this is a guy who spent his whole career traveling around.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of people said, he doesn't look serious, but I think that's his character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's always very serious. He just has that kind of persona who's always having fun
It's
and stuff like that.
charismatic, yeah.
But he kind of says he didn't show up on the night, but I think there was more to it. I think the weight cut got a bit tougher for him. Something to me just didn't seem right. And that's not taking anything away from Don Madge. Don Madge, I think, put on a masterful
Don's a
performance,
beast.
and he's a beast. I think people underestimate just how good Don Madge is.
Exactly.
In my eyes, Don Madge can mix it up with the best lightweights in the world, man. He
Absolutely.
is a straight up killer.
I can see Don and Tony Ferguson.
Yeah, 100%, man. So, like, you know, but I just think Dave might have said to himself there, you know,
Yeah.
the weight cut didn't go well last time. Let me see if I can coax EFC into giving me a fight a little bit heavier.
Yeah.
So there's less weight to cut, less stress to deal with through the media day. I mean, you got to think about this guy's got to fly from Las Vegas
37 hours.
8-9 days before he gets it, just to kind of
Yeah.
adjust, you know.
The jet lag.
So he's got a lot of things to do, and I think if he can validate himself at a catch weight with Temba Garimbo, perhaps stepping up a weight class is an option for him. I don't know. Look, in my eyes, he's a very small welterweight, or
It would be
perhaps-
absolutely smaller welterweight against Nexodricus. Damn.
or perhaps he's trying to just take a fight against a good opponent at a catch weight that he doesn't have to catch that much weight, and then
Or maybe
see what
Temba
happens
didn't
from
want to
there.
drop that much weight and make
Look,
71, yeah.
Temba said to me that he's not interested in fighting at lightweight.
Yeah.
Not in South Africa anyway, is
Yeah.
what he said. So he's a guy who doesn't want to drain himself all the way to lightweight anymore. He also said he could really get to featherweight if he really wanted
He
to.
was. He'd have to cut off his arm. Or something.
Yeah. So, yeah, fair enough. Maybe the decision came from Temba's side. I think
Yeah.
it's a high risk, high reward situation for both guys, you know, and also low risk, low
Yeah.
consequence, because I mean, it's such a weird thing for them to be fighting in such a weird weight class, because I think either way, if one of them wins, because they're massive opponents, you know, It validates.
Let's look at it this way, Al. If Mazeni wins, what's next for him?
The way I
match?
see it, is that Mazeni wins, he's back in the title conversation at lightweight.
Okay. Temba wins?
If Temba wins, he's definitely in the title conversation at welterweight. So I think they're kind of meeting each other halfway.
And go back to their respective weight classes.
100%. That's
I also think that's so.
probably realistically more what's happening. I think this has favored Dave in the fact that he doesn't have to cut as much weight, and just feel better for this fight. And it's also favored Temba in that he's fighting a slightly smaller dude. I say smaller, look, they're completely different body compositions.
Yeah.
One's
Tall
like
and lanky.
and one's like short and stocky. So it's very different. And that being said, I think that's where Dave's going to find a lot of problems. I think Don exposed that. He kept him at a distance and he really went to work. And I think Temba will do something similar. The craziest thing about Temba is, man, he just seems to pull off submissions from nowhere. And let me tell you, any guy that's
Even
long,
with a broken shoulder, you can still pull off a submission.
no, 100%,
And choke your ass out.
and a guy that's long like that, man, geez, those dudes are the worst to deal with on the ground.
Exactly, yeah.
And again, you're in a situation where Don Madge said the same thing in his build up to the fight with Dave Mazzani, that he's, everyone speaks about Dave's wrestling, but nobody spoke about Don's jiu-jitsu.
100%.
And that's what Don said to me, and he kind of said, I think that'll be the difference for him on the night is the jiu-jitsu. And nobody was talking about that. And again, I think we might be heading for the same scenario where everyone's going to talk about Dave's wrestling and nobody's going to talk about Temba's jiu-jitsu. Let's wait and see, man. I think it's a...
I hear the conversations about Dave's wrestling, and I get that. It's evident, it's proven against the Leon fights. But if you look at what Temba did to Joe Cummins, he embraced the grind in that last fight. He went into that fight with an injury.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Joe had no answer for him. And Temba really out-wrestled him throughout that fight. So Temba's a strong dude.
Yeah.
And when you put strength for strength, I think Temba takes it. Wrestling for wrestling, okay, you give it to Dave. Power, who do you give the power to?
Yeah, it's a tough one, man. I think that's something you'll have to wait and see. Look, Dave Mazzani's carries a lot of power. He's a seriously tough dude, but that being said, again, you are not going to find a guy that's going to outground and outwork Temba Gorimbo. I don't think that's possible, man.
Yeah.
I think mentally, getting a bit of story on what that oak's been through, it's going to be very tough to mentally break that guy down.
His mental fortitude is out there. It's strong.
And Temba said something in the last Engage series which struck with me, and it's often happens in fight sports.
I heard him say, I fucking work hard.
Yeah, not even that. It's not even that. He mentioned something which was something I'd picked up on as well, is that Dave is still talking about Don Madge.
Yeah.
Whereas Temba's very focused on what he's doing. Temba also said to me, he's given up chasing belts, It'll come. He's focused on his goals. And whoever's in front of him is just an opponent.
At the task at hand.
What happened behind doesn't matter. What's going to happen after that doesn't matter, So he's very focused on the task at hand, where I think Dave is maybe still a little bit caught up on what happened with Don Madge losing the title. He looks like himself in the build-up, but he's got a hell of a task ahead of him, man. And
it's not going to be an easy fight, man. This is amazing. And if you look at MMA mats, Dave beat Leon. Leon beat Temba. The MMA gods don't think that way as much as we'd like them to. So, Leon beats Don. Don choked out Dave. So, man, it's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. And you can't rely on the MMA gods. It doesn't work that way.
No.
It's just going to be on the night.
Who beat who doesn't matter, man. It's who rocks up.
Who rocks up on the night.
That's what really matters. Let's hear your pick there. I'm interested to see what you say.
Man, gun to my head. Who do I pick?
It's like a metaphorical gun to your head right now, boy.
This is going to be tough, man. Shit. It is absolutely tough.
Okay, I'll go first. I'll tell you mine.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Temba Gorimbo. And I think Temba Gorimbo is going to pull off a submission third, fourth round, quite late on. I feel like Temba's mental state, his mental capacity is just that much more intense at the moment, and I think he's really going to get after it.
Do you think Don gave him the blueprint? How to beat
I asked him about that. And his answer was quite fair. Like, I'm sure obviously Don will give him a bit of insight, but
Yeah.
he's kind of like, makes sense. He's like, everyone fights differently. He's going to fight his way, not Don's way, you know.
Yeah,
But they've definitely figured out a way how to beat Dave
100%.
Mazzani. And I don't know, Dave Mazzani just seems a little bit deflated to me. He doesn't seem 100% all there. Like, he's kind of, you know, I don't know, it's tough, man. I can't imagine what it's like to spend your whole career flying all over the world to fight, man.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a tough thing to do. He just doesn't.
To that guy.
Yeah, he
So-
just, big. I take my hat off to that dude, man. I just don't think he's 100% all there at the moment. He's not brimming with confidence.
Yeah.
And again, like, everyone's like, Dave Mazzani, this, you know, because he comes from Vegas and he's this fighter.
Extreme
But, I mean,
couture, yeah.
I mean, how many fights has he had in the UFC? He's only really dealt with Leon
Leon.
Maynard and Don Madge, you know, and
Sibasiso Doko, he
yeah,
walked through him.
Sibasiso Doko. I mean, please,
He walked through
Graham
him, yeah.
Cartmel, if you're listening, please, sir, do not
Put an international against
do not
Sibasiso
put
Doko.
Sibasiso Doko back on the roster. That man needs a break, and possibly forever. I'm
And-
going to come out and say it. Anyway, you know, like Dave Mazzani's had what 4, 5 fights in the EFC.
Yeah, 4.
You know, so people forget that he fought at EFC 5, I think it was, long time ago. Won a fight quite emphatically.
Yeah,
He was a younger man then as well, you know.
he was a different guy.
So I don't know, man. I'm gonna go with Tembo on this one. I'm gonna be a little bit faithful to my roots. You know, I'm not one to pick sides, but it's nice to kind of make a pick and see how it all pans out.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah, we're still waiting for your pick, boy.
I think you know what, Mazzani. When you see him in the countdown shows, that's his personality. He's charismatic.
Sure.
He's open. He's a people's person. So when the cage door shuts, he becomes a different guy. He becomes he's the pain train, as he puts
Sure.
out his iron claw and shit, and he says, "I'm the pain train," and he refers to himself as the third person.
Yeah,
So props to that dude.
yeah, it's pretty weird.
That's fucking funny. But man, he's got the skill set. His wrestling is amazing. His stand up is awesome. He's training among some good guys at Extreme Couture. He's around champions. But that still didn't help against Don Madge. Don Madge FFM is just amazing, full of champions there as well. But skill for skill on the night, I think I'm gonna say Temba as well. I'm gonna say Temba as well. I just think Temba's size, he's slick with his submissions. He stand up. Temba dropped Leon, you know, and he's got that punch. He's got that one punch that can put your lights out. So I'm gonna say Temba Garimbo.
All right.
Our picks were similar throughout this.
Yeah, we had a.
We didn't differ that much.
I think you picked Conti CB. I just want to remind everyone about that.
Oh yeah, the general, Cage Wise.
Anyways, well, there you have it. Whether you like
gonna
our,
be a fucking
whether you
awesome
like our
card,
thoughts or not, yeah, man, it's a fucking great card, man. It's,
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are saying that there's no title on the line, but you know this game is not only about titles. you know,
No,
there's
it's not about titles.
these individual guys are all trying to rise to the top, and I think the
And
EFC
you know what's the
brass-
amazing thing is the prelims, great fights.
Sure.
I know we have fun when we're watching the prelims. That's where the most fun comes out of.
Yeah, sure.
And these guys know that Graham's there, Cairo's there. I need to throw hands and put on a
100%.
display
These guys all want to put on a show. I mean,
and get that bonuses.
there's a lot of exciting fights, and even if you don't want to look at fights, look at the individuals that are on that undercard. There's a lot of guys to
Yeah.
see. I mean, I can't wait to see Tupac fight again. The way he I mean, most people haven't even really seen it because it was an undercard.
Yeah.
Was the way he put Stephen De La Rey out was insane, man. It
That
was
was awesome, that was
vicious. Guys like Faiz Jacobs, who are really starting to climb the charts. You know, we want to see all of these guys, and so
Yeah.
get there early, get your tickets, get down
Grand
to Grand
West
West
Casino.
Casino. Yeah, man, and have yourself a mighty good time, and that's it, brother.
Peace. It's been
We-
awesome.
100%, and we'll catch you all in Cape Town, and we are out.
On the 9th of September at Grand West, Cape Town, a former champion is seeking redemption when he goes to war with a former title contender as the USA's Dave Mazzani clashes with Zimbabwe's Timba Garimbo. An undefeated welterweight returns for division domination against a foreign BJJ specialist as South Africa's Cameron Pritchard collides with Brazil's José de Roca. The war of words will end inside the hexagon as the rivalry between the DRC's Bruno Makulu and South Africa's Dino Bagatine comes to an epic conclusion. Plus, see the return of a Cape Town favorite as former champion Kitty Andratsky reignites his title ambitions against the rejuvenated ground specialist Warren Allison. EFC63, 9 September, Grand West, Cape Town. Tickets and broadcast information at efcworldwide.com.